Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. We have a fantastic episode coming up. Julie Griffin is with us, a ghost photographer. She has a ton of fantastic ghost photographs that she's going to share with us. She's also an author and a psychic medium, so we have a lot to talk about. She's also going to be at State Paracon, so we're going to preview that as well. So I'm Mike Ricksecker, author and ghost historian, your host for the evening. With me as always is Vanessa, my co-host, and down in the chat room, Shana, our chat Shananigator. So how's it going tonight, Vanessa?
Dandy.
Dandy. All right. So we got to throw out there real quick just before the show started. Tom McNicholas threw down a $20 super chat. So thank you very much, Tom McNicholas, for starting off the show on a great foot. So Shauna's here and getting some tea. So all right, Shauna, get a good flavor. So we do have some housekeeping to talk about real quick. So I've got the notebook out. We were jotting these down like literally 2 minutes ago. So okay, so out at the Spreadshirt site where we do all the t-shirts and everything, which is shop.spreadshirt.com/haunted-road-media, they are throwing a 4th of July sale. So tomorrow, US only, 20% off everything. Anything you want to get, 20% off. So there was also a thing on there for today and on the 5th for Canada and Australia as well. Tomorrow is US only, 20% off. So go check it out if you still haven't gotten the new tank tops that are out now, or any other t-shirts or hoodies or anything else you've been looking for. 20% off. That's the best I've seen so far. Usually it's like 10 or 15 or something, or free shipping or something like that. 20% is the best yet.
That is a really good deal.
Yep.
That is a really good deal. Can I throw something in real quick here, Mike?
Yep.
We kind of brought this up before the show as well. For everyone who's watching, and y'all know I love you, and I appreciate the support so much. I'm getting a lot of messages about the Chicago event that I'm doing. I can't get tickets for anyone. It's invitation only, but you can watch it on live feed. So
we'll have to watch it on live feed.
Yeah, you have to watch it on live feed. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so next Tuesday, July 10th, which is also a Edge of the Rabbit Hole night and Inside the Upside Down night, William Stillman, who we had on, I think it was back in February, is releasing a new book through us called Conversations with Dogs. So we'll preview that a little bit more next week, but I wanted to throw that out there just so you guys are on the lookout for it. Go ahead and check out William's Facebook page, give him some support as the new release comes out. So, and Grizz with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Grizz. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. One
of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, as is Tom McNicholas. The other thing is July 31 deadline. Anybody still looking to get in a story for the new Encounters with the Paranormal? It's volume 4. So we're taking those up until July 31, and then that's the deadline. Then it's time to edit and format and all that fun stuff. So if you have a story still to submit, I know a couple of you do. Let's get them in.
Including me.
Including Vanessa.
I'm always
including me too, by the way. So, all right. But we do have a lot of great submissions. Tom McNicholas has one. Shauna's doing a joint one with Rob Guttrow, which I'm really looking forward to. And there's a lot of people have put in stories. So Dawn, Michelle Hamilton, just a lot of people. So it's going to be a good one. So, and this one is specifically, or not specifically, but we're highlighting the Fairy Plantation. So if anybody has a story from the Fairy Plantation, we'd really appreciate those. So, all right. And Denise Pridemore saying, I'd like to submit. Fantastic. haunted@hauntedroadmedia.com. Just send us an email with whatever story you've written up about, anywhere from 500 to 1,500 words. So we take them a little bit shorter, but a little bit longer too. So I think that'll do it. Let's get to our guest. So, all right, we have Julie Griffin with us this evening. She is a ghost photographer, spirit photographer. She's an author. She's a psychic medium. Has done a lot of things. She's going to be at State Paracon what is that, in about a week and a half. And I'm really looking forward to talking with her. So good friends with Andrea Parent, who we just had on last week, and is a good friend of mine. So Julie, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into photographing ghosts.
Well, I've always been really interested in the subject. I grew up in 2 actively haunted houses in Ohio, but things tended to happen during the day, so they weren't scary. And the way my folks approached it, well, it's just the personality of the house. When you heard footsteps above, doors opening and closing, a chandelier moving, and it really was no big deal. And it was actually kind of fun when it actually did happen. So it's been a lifelong interest. And beginning in 2009, I decided I wanted to learn how to properly investigate, and I found a group to go and learn through. And to my surprise, within a few months, I was catching really, really good photographs. I'm not overly technical, but I knew my camera. And it just kind of took off from there. There was quite a while that it took me a while to wrap my brain even around what I was getting and how much and the quality, and as good as they were, and in multiple shots. And this has just been, with the style that I've developed, and it just took off when I began doing this January 2009.
Interesting.
Now,
So go ahead, Vanessa.
I have just a quick question.
Yep.
When you were younger and you were growing up in these houses, 2-part question. One, do you feel that what you were surrounded by, so to speak, was intelligent, or was it residual? And the reason I'm asking that is because it was during the day, primarily. And the other is, did you, as an amateur, take any little Polaroid shots or anything like that? Did you ever try any of that? And if so, did you get anything?
No, nothing really happened with the photos before that. I had gotten more into photography about 2 years before that, in 2007, and nothing had happened. Nothing. It just kind of clicked on. And that's an interesting question about where I lived. In one of them, I know it was not residual. This was like between 3rd and 5th grade, and an old farmhouse. And I know this because we were pretty sure who was active in the house was our landlady's late husband. There was a big windmill on the property, and my mom really has a green thumb, and she looked at it and said, I need to put blue morning glories up that. And she did. Landlady came over one day and was just in shock, and it's like, why did you do that? And Mom said, well, it looked like it needed to go there. And she said, that's what my husband, Floyd, always did. So whenever the activity got to be a little too much in the house, Mom had threatened to cut the morning glories down.
That's awesome.
I mean, it got crazy there. I watched vegetables hop off the counter. It was no big deal because of how my folks treated it. So we weren't scared. It was kind of cool. So
that's awesome.
Nice. I have to ask, where at in Ohio?
Northwestern County, Williams County, Northwestern County in the state.
Okay. Yeah.
2 different places.
From the Cleveland area here. So.
Okay.
Well, some of the chatters are asking if we're going to be sharing any photographs, and yes, we will be. I have several from you. So would you like to get into a few here?
Absolutely.
All right. So kind of we'll do a few here, and then we'll get into some other topics. Then maybe we'll finish up with a few then. So, well, that's your book, Ghostly Photographs. And then let's go ahead and... So this is an interesting shot, I thought. Now,
I love this one.
Yeah, obviously there's some moisture in there, but
yeah.
Where is this cloud coming from?
Okay, yeah, that ball with a tail. This is one of my favorite photos. I use this to make my business card. That's how much I love this photo. And it was really early on. This was taken on the ground. This was in Rutland, Massachusetts, on the grounds of what had been a tuberculosis hospital and a prison farm. And we were in the one night, and the weather had been kind of damp back and forth. And yes, all of the, there's lots of moisture there. I'm not an orbs person. An orb is a shape, not a thing.
Right.
But it just was there. And that's one of a series of 3 that I caught that night. And this was the end of April. This was my first night investigation. I was that new. 3 months into this, and this started.
This was just 3 months into you investigating.
Yes.
So let me ask you that. We have a couple questions down in chat that I do want to get to, but let me ask you this. Because a lot of people have, it's a challenge for a lot of people to capture something on a photograph. I know I've been doing this for years, and the photographs are kind of few and far between. You're talking, this is just, as you're just getting started, and it seems to come, I don't know if I want to say easier for you, but what's the secret, for lack of a better term?
All right. Well, I'll tell you what I do. I always take 3 photos of the exact same place because energy moves and changes as it manifests. And when you've got a capture in one photo but not in another, go and prove, well, no, that is a wall. That, isn't something that can be explained. I also take a lot of photos. I mean, it's what I'm not an audio person. I don't have an ear for EVPs or any of that. And I can look at hours of photos and not get bored. And in 15 minutes, with audio, it's like I've had enough. So I'm taking a lot of shots. If I go to a really great location, I'm taking 100 photos an hour. Now, that sounds like a lot, but when you're taking them in groups of 3, not so much. And I'm going to take advantage of a location as much as I can. It's not unusual if I go down to Gettysburg, which I just love to do, to come back with at least 1,000 photos every day. So it's a combination of getting out there, the time in the field, and my camera isn't anything special. I call it kind of a higher end point and shoot, set on automatic everything. It's got the view screen, but it's also got the eyepiece, so you're looking through that a lot of the time. I don't like looking at the screen. I want it up against my face, so all I'm seeing is the photo. There's nothing else peripherally that can go and kind of throw me off. That's what I do.
Okay. Now we do have a question from Shana down in chat. She asks, has anyone asked her what she thinks started things off for her with the paranormal? What does she think turned her filter off? What
do you mean turned? I don't understand. Turned it off.
If I can be so bold as to interrupt, what I think that Shana means is before we show a particular interest in the paranormal, we have this filter that kind of buffers that paranormal information that's trying to reach us. As it's that kind of that shooing it away, that pushing it away, and not acknowledging it. And at some point in time, for those of us that become involved in this field, we get rid of that filter and allow things to come a little bit easier. Well, that's how I'm interpreting the question.
I would say that it was never turned off. It wasn't anything I intentionally turned off. It's always fascinated me. But I did something and it turned on in a big, big way. Anytime I'd run across things like this, it fascinated me. It always has. So I can't see it was ever turned off or ever pushed away from it. But I made this decision to go and learn how to properly investigate. And it just exploded on me, much to my surprise.
Diane Hilbert is down in the chat. She says, Julie is great. I talk with her every year at Ocean State Paracon.
Hi, Diane.
Oh, that's sweet. Now, I have a question for you. I was at Mineral Springs with our Haunted Road Media Paracon, and we were in the upstairs area, an area that I do not care for. And I was taking quite a few pictures just with my camera on my phone. Okay. Nothing fancy. And I caught something, and there's nobody else. Okay. Nobody else there, that could have caused this. And I took another picture of the exact same area, and there was nothing that could even come close to resembling what I caught. Okay. And it looks like a burn victim.
Really?
Yes. And there's no, to my knowledge, no history of anybody being on fire or anything catching on fire there at Mineral Springs. But I'm a little concerned by that but it had such a presence.
Wow.
About it. And it's not. I took the photo in the same area to disprove it.
Yeah.
There's no pareidolia. There's nothing like that.
Right.
There was nothing to make it look this way. Have you ever had something like that happen, or does it tend to be more of the mist or the shadows?
I've had a little bit of everything. Anything from, balls of light up to full body apparitions. It can be all kinds of things. The huge range that's out there that we can capture. That's part of what I really like to go and show with my work, and I'm constantly surprised at what I'm catching. I've got some new content I'm going to get up in about a week, and they again are completely different, and some things that are colors that I've never seen before in my captures. But I've seen nice stuff with cell phones. You can use those too.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to see that. I love looking at other people's stuff too. And
I've got a few I'll send to you.
I love that.
I have a full body one at Crescent Inn Hotel in Eureka Springs, leaning against a wall, legs crossed, arms crossed, looking at me.
Oh, how nice. To me, that is so cool, And just go and prove that it can be done. It's real. They're there.
Yeah.
And one thing to point out, anything I've caught in a camera, I've never seen with my eyes. Is that the same case with you too?
Yes, for the most part. I generally, if I'm taking pictures, it's a rarity, because
Okay.
I'm the medium normally walking through telling people where to take pictures.
Got
or
it.
telling them what I'm getting. So it's a rarity. But on the rare occasions I have gotten some doozies.
Keep that camera. Take more photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have some interesting photos. It's other things that I've seen with my eyes, so it's
Okay.
the things that I've seen with my eyes I haven't necessarily caught on camera, so it goes back and
Sometimes
forth.
I think that's a good thing.
Now, I've only had that happen a couple of times to actually see it with my eyes. So, experiences do vary.
It sucks. Just gonna go on record there.
Yeah.
Man, it sucks.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and pop up another photo. I'll put up the other one from this location, which is this. This is the one that we actually used for the background for the banner. So, yeah, same location, kind of the same thing going on, but it looks a little different.
Yeah, this one's a really heavy mist, and I almost wonder if there are two separate things going on, because down in the lower left-hand corner, the color's a little bit different, and the shape is more compact, where the other one's more drawn out. I really don't know. There's almost a human-like figure to the main one, but I can't be sure. All I know is that there is definitely something going on. There's definitely something there.
Did they have hangings?
I honestly don't know, but it was a real prison farm. I mean, they had animals and they grew crops.
This would have been before the prison farm. In the area that you were in, did they have lynchings?
I don't know for sure, but it's a very rural area. Rutland, Massachusetts was the area that I was in.
I'm going to look it up if you don't mind.
Oh, please go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, Diane Hilbert is saying she sees a face with teeth showing. And we do have a question from Judy Wilson. She wants to know, Julie, if you've ever been frightened while you've been out taking photos.
I have, on an investigation, yeah. I've only had once. I've been startled a few times, but I've only had one instance where I kind of turned it around. Lizzie Borden House. I had to go there for 2 nights. This quite a few years ago, and the first night was very disappointing. Actually, very quiet. We went out during the day. We came back, and everything was different. It was like everybody got organized. Now, the group that was there, we were investigating the 3 floors in our shifts, And about 2 o'clock in the morning, we had finished up, and I was on the 3rd floor. We're going to take a break and then finish up with one big EVP session on the 1st floor. Now, when I was on the 2nd floor, I'm taking photographs in what was Mr. and Mrs. Borden's bedroom. Nobody killed in there, but I thought I'd caught, a good anomaly. So once we were taking the break, I wanted to download it, but it turns out that I'd left the card reader up in my room on the 3rd floor. Now, it was 10 minutes prior that I'd been up there. And so I go back up the stairs. I'm on the 3rd set of stairs, and it feels heavy. I don't like it, but I really want my card reader. So I think, okay, mental blinders, go in your room, get it, come downstairs. I'd gone about 2 steps off the top of the stairs. There's kind of a sitting room there that's maybe 15 by 20. And behind me, I hear in a deep man's voice, someone's clearing their throat.
You totally
broke up. I seem to be walking into the space, and of course I stopped. Pardon me?
You totally broke up when you went to say what the man said.
Oh, I heard somebody. I heard in a man's deep voice. I heard I heard him clearing his throat.
Okay.
And it was right behind me, so of course I turn right around and go, "Who's there?" And nothing. I was down those stairs so fast. There were people waiting for me when I hit the 1st floor. And I told them what happened, and they went up. And that was the most intense, but that was also the first time I heard a disembodied voice. And that one was personal. It was at me, and I'd had that very intense, I don't like this feeling, but I'm going to go through it anyway. So that's probably my most intense, and it's like, I'm out of here thing. But it's that first time with a disembodied voice. Anytime you have that first big experience, it's really intense.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that it's at the Lizzie Borden House. I'll go ahead and put up that your photo from there as well, because we just recently featured Lizzie Borden here on the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel, so it's kind of been a bit of a theme here recently. So this
that's the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, one thing we did when we were there, just out of curiosity, because I've got no idea of knowing where that was between me and the bed, but I pulled out a measuring tape and I measured the pattern on the bedspread, and if that was on the bed, that would have been about 8 inches across.
Okay.
Wow.
It was just kind of an experiment, because I knew it had to be between this point and that point. But this is another one of the few times that I've got something that it has facial features, and I love the shape of this one, the little bit of coloration around the edge.
I really liked the fact that you said that you took out a measuring tape and actually went through trying to measure exactly, how big it would have been, tried to figure out where it would have been, all that, because a lot of people just take a photo, oh, look at what I got, and you're actually taking out measuring tapes and trying to figure it all out. That's fantastic to me.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I had a unique opportunity. I had something I could base it on. I could do a good what if. I always try to do that. It's more interesting that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you mentioned Gettysburg earlier, and it seems that is a place that you really, really enjoy.
Yes, I do.
So, and I've been there a few times myself, and it is a fantastic place. Very sad, of course, but you have some footage from there as well. And that's this one. This is pretty interesting.
Oh, yes. I hope you've got all 3.
I did not grab all 3.
Do I have
That's a good one.
Do I have all 3 up on the website?
Let me check, because I could grab them real quick if they're there.
This was taken at 11:30 in the morning. That's another thing I like to talk about, is that it's all times of day. I've had some of my best captures at 11:30 in the morning, 6 p.m., 7:30. I've had very, very, very few late into the night. What I also love about this one is that you've got direct sunlight on it. You can see where you have shadow sunlight. Yes, and there's a little bit of a rainbow coloring to it. So does that mean there's moisture in it with the sun hitting it? I don't know. And this
Are
is
you
the
ready to have your socks blown off, hun?
all right. I'll even put them back on to have them blown off. What you got?
Go for
There
it,
was
Vanessa.
quite a few lynchings in Massachusetts,
In that area?
from what I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, spanning what looks to be, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and
I'm not either.
yeah, the Ouija ladies down in Periscope are impressed with the photo.
Thank you. This is one of my favorites. It is a series of 3. And this is why taking 3 are so important. I mean, to get a capture where you have them changing like this, and just to see that they actually move, it adds so much more credibility to what you have. And this is the second story on a porch, and beautiful, beautiful house down in Gettysburg. And I knew somebody or something was up there, and I'm talking to it and just chatting along and basically being a good guest. I knew the house had recently been repointed, all the stonework, and it was beautiful. And I just chatted and chatted, as you would. You want to be good company. Like I said, you want to be a good guest.
It had multiple colors, too. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like Julie was saying, it had a bit of a rainbow effect.
Yeah, like oil on a highway.
Yes.
I've never seen it like that. That's very interesting. I've never seen one like that.
Well, it's the same thing, that kind of a rainbow effect. That's why I wonder, because you've got direct sunlight on it. Is it even a rainbow effect? Or is that just part of the nature of it?
It's very interesting.
Yeah, are there moisture particles in there that, like you were saying, Julie, that the sunlight is reflecting off of to make a bit of a rainbow effect? Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's so condensed.
And which building was this in Gettysburg?
Well, it's one of those that I visited, and I don't. This is what
it says Gettysburg Farmhouse. Okay.
Yeah, this is the rock and a hard place type of thing, because they talk about paranormal stuff, but it's mostly a historical building. But it's one of those where I don't have explicit permission to name the place. That's why I just kind of left it as a Gettysburg Farmhouse.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Yep. Some people want their privacy, and we understand that.
It's almost as if, and I might be wrong, maybe my screen's dirty, but it almost looks as if it's casting a shadow on the beam. Oh,
on the beam, like in the middle there?
Yes.
Actually, it's wrapped around the beam. If you look at some of the there's some that are more
it almost like
it's where it's more, it's denser, and it's very obvious that it is wrapped around that post.
It almost looks like it's holding on to it.
Yeah.
Yes. It's wrapped around. Yeah.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And
that's my favorite one.
And that was early on. That was in May of 2009. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It took me a while to wrap my brain around what was happening, because I'd gone there with a group, and I had heard about this place. I was listening to a lot of podcasts when I was first getting into this, and they wanted to do something else. Well, I wanted to go check this place out, and this is what I came out with at 11:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's something that we try to mention here from time to time on the Haunted Road Media YouTube channel, whether it's on any of the shows or one of our investigation videos, is that it doesn't have to be at night. There's plenty of paranormal activity that happens during the day. It's not just a nighttime thing.
Very true. I have most of my best experiences in the day.
Yeah, me too.
Whether it's stateside, overseas, what have you, the majority of the really cool stinking stuff that's happened to me has happened in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens quite often. And, I like to mention this is that, especially at historic locations that maybe are now a museum or what have you, that the docents there, the caretakers, or the people working the shop, or whomever it is, that are relating their experiences that they've had there, Well, they were working during the day when they experienced these things, and yet, you know, the paranormal teams go in there and they're setting up at night, and
yeah, I know.
it's funny. But I guess we want the, you know, the darkness and the creepy cool factor, and there's some other reasons too, you know, for doing it at night rather than during the day. But you know, like noise pollution is, you know, down and things like that. But you can get a lot of paranormal activity during the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So. Show us another one. That one got me. That's my favorite so far.
Vanessa's like, show me another.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other ones did I pull? So that was Gettysburg. This is a shadow. Yeah. Slater Mill is what it says.
Yes. It's in Rhode Island. And I'm trying to think of the exact town. It's like one town over from Providence. And Slater Mill is from the late 1700s. It was the first cotton mill in America. And there's very cool buildings you can go through. And there's a house that was moved on. Can't think of the exact name of the house, but that's where this happened. And actually, this is when I turned this into black and white. The photo that I took was very dark. And to make things, you know, more visible, an easy way is just to turn it to black and white and then adjust your contrast to kind of make things pop a little bit more. But I was with somebody, and the bed there, you can go and see the key on top, because it's a rope bed. And, you know, sleep tight refers to tightening the ropes on a rope bed. And that is called a key, and that tightens the ropes because they sag over time. And she thought this was cool, and her camera batteries had died, so I took the picture, and to my surprise, there's, you know, the silhouette of a woman. And this is from the mid-1800s, and I think we're looking at a profile of her, and off the top of her head, I think that's, in my opinion, is she would have like a mob cap on. That's why it looks like she, instead of like having massive bangs out in front or something, and you can see the bust line, and then she just tapers down to nothing. And that's very common with, you know, more of a full body apparition. The lower part of the body isn't there. It's very rare that the full body is clear. Now, the one thing that was my own experience when I saw this before I knew about the photo, I wanted, in the worst way, to get in that bed and just crawl up in a fetal position. I mean, I had to go and fight this urge to do it because I didn't feel like getting thrown out. I was having a great time. I don't want to have to leave.
Right.
So badly to do this. So to me, this is someone who's looking down at the bed, and with my own impressions is that there was a child very sick or dying, but you've got mom very, very concerned about an ill child in that bed. And this is also
I saw a mother holding a baby.
Okay.
I don't see it the same way that you do. I see her full body. What looks like her head,
okay,
to me was her holding a baby. And I'm not saying I'm right.
Ooh, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, this is why it's fun to get other people to talk about the stuff. Yeah. I see what. Okay, I see what you're saying. I've looked at this so many times. You can almost get tunnel vision on them. So everybody else take a look at these. What's also neat about Slater Mill is that Keith and Carl Johnson are tour guides there.
Are they really?
Oh, I know them.
Yeah, they've both been working there, you know, something extra evenings for, I think they've been there for more than 10 years.
Wow.
So you go there for a tour, you go on one of the ghost tour nights or such, and, you know, you get to spend time with them too.
I've investigated Carl.
Same here.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah, definitely a great guy.
Good people.
So now, you talked earlier about, well, you kind of mentioned it a little bit there with that particular photo, you know, that you are a psychic medium. So is it, you know, by chance that, you know, you're picking up on something that tells you, okay, this is the spot where I need to take the photo, and maybe that's why you've had a bit more luck? Does that happen to you? Like, oh, this is where I should be shooting my photos?
Well, that's also been quite an experience in itself. The mediumship has only kicked in. That came in after.
Oh, okay.
yeah, in 2011 is when I really began, well, seeing dead people. And that progressed and got, first they would be still, then they would move a little bit. And it just kind of evolved, and then I would get a little bit of words, and I've been able to do, full readings for over 3 years now, where I've got the full communication, with someone on the other side, which is just an amazing experience, for myself and for what I can, do for others. But that's been its own thing for me to go and wrap my mind around, as that has blossomed in me too. Now, spirit photography is a form of physical mediumship, if you read much of spiritualist literature and such, but they consider it within that. So I don't know if this was a precursor with that turning on. Now, I could think back to the first time that I saw someone who wasn't there, would have been in the late 80s, and it's still incredibly clear, and I was married then, and let's just say he didn't take it real well when I'm telling him, I'm saying there's an old woman and a spinning wheel there on the floor.
Wow.
Broad daylight, and I'm fascinated. I'm just marveling at what I'm seeing. And yeah, he didn't take it.
He didn't like that.
No.
It's almost as if the camera lens opened up your third eye.
Well, something happened. I mean, or where it was there maybe cracked open. It certainly expanded it a lot. But something happened in April of 2011 that really made that open up big time. I kind of call it being hit by a psychic 2x4. I had a very intense few days in Gettysburg, and everything I have a real starting point where it truly opened up. And that's its own journey. I'm having such a great time learning more about that, and just as this just keeps developing and keeps developing, it
sounds like a heck of a journey.
Yeah, it really has been, and this is nothing I never expected. I never anticipated. I never looked for, and it took me a while to accept, okay, this is real, this is me, and I'm going to run with it. And it takes a while to think, oh, this isn't just some little random thing once in a while, but it's consistent now. It's very consistent, and that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Now, since this happened later in life,
yes,
aside from your I'm assuming ex-husband, correct?
Yeah.
Because I've been there. I know how people don't approve. I get it. How has your abilities and the photography that you do and everything that ties it all together, how has that been accepted or not accepted by those that are close to you? Have you had the support, or have you watched those back away?
I'm lucky. I have fabulous, fabulous support. I have both my parents. They're even still married, and they are fully behind this, and they have stuff happen in their house on occasion. And Mom will call me, and it's like, I got to tell you what happened. And that is so nice. And it's all good. And even with the mediumship and everything else, they all know, and they're all very accepting of it. Some of them kind of look at me and smile and nod, and it's like it's who I am. And that took me some time. I've only come out public with this within the last year, because I wasn't ready to. It took me time to accept that word of being a medium and being comfortable with it, no matter how somebody reacted to me. If I had someone kind of look at me like, oh yeah, sure. It's like, okay, believe what you want. I know what my truth is. And that's what I'm going to run with. So, and I went through that with the photos too in the very beginning. It's like, some of them they're almost too good. And are people not going to believe me? Are they going to think they're photoshopped? I have intentionally, I don't even know how to use Photoshop. I've also done something else. I've been keeping my SD cards for years when I get really good captures. So I've got a dish with, many, many SD cards in, just to back myself up. But I've caught so many at this point. I think I've established myself with the credibility, but I still have them.
But you stated something that's extremely important for people to know and understand, is that when you, especially when you come out as a medium or any type of sensitive or psychic, there, because we see it so often these days. Every time you turn around, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Every single.
Totally break it up, Vanessa.
Oh, and what a horrible fucking picture to do it on.
We heard that. But yeah, it's totally, see, while you're...
You can hear me even if you can't see me. But people are coming out every day. And I'm psychic. And the ones that I believe, because I've been there, are the ones who say it was a very hard decision to go public. That they had to become comfortable. And I think people need to understand how difficult it is. Even when you have the support. You know, it's difficult.
You have to be prepared to, be rejected and to be poo-pooed and fine. And there are going to be people that are never going to believe it. The same way there are people that are never going to believe in ghosts. They're never going to believe in spirits. I use the example that there are some people that Abraham Lincoln could manifest in front of them, walk up, shake their hand, and then disappear, and they're still going to go, I don't know. Because there's some people that they don't want to believe, they can't believe for some reason, and that's their choice.
Well, I mean, you have an entire organization that, they actually have skeptic conferences, and you're right, Julie. It doesn't matter if that were to happen. They would simply say, well, it's something that I can't yet explain. And there was a guy that I talked to. He would go to these skeptic conferences, and he even said, there's something that's happened to me that you would say is paranormal. And I was like, okay, then what would you call it? And I forget what his experience was. We described a little bit of it. And he's like, I just don't have an explanation for you. And I do have to recognize that Dawn has a $10 super chat. So thank you very much, Dawn, for the $10 super chat. She says, Julie is awesome singing the song Kodachrome. It's cool.
Oh.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you have to face it. Marilyn Monroe could come down and do the cha-cha on somebody's face. And if they don't believe in it, they're still going to say that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's sad. It's sad.
So you're going to have people that are just either end of the spectrum, no matter what the subject is. This just happens to be the subject that we're involved with. People that are going to be, there's nothing that's paranormal, and other people that are like, everything is paranormal, which is also not good.
No, they're just as bad.
Yeah.
But I've been fortunate. It's probably been about 98% positive across the board.
Well,
wow.
let's take a look at one of yours that's that many may believe is hard to believe, but because I was looking at that like, wow, that's really a spirit. Okay, so that would be, and this is the first one.
Yes.
And so this person, I guess, walking through the doorway wearing a red hat.
Yes. This is actually the second of 3 shots because I'm at the top of these stairs, and I just was so drawn to shoot down these stairs. And I came back to this location, and I shot it multiple times. But there was just something about standing there and shooting down these stairs. And then this apparition walks in. Now, again, I didn't see anything until afterwards. And I don't know why she's got this crazy red-pink hat on. The body's a little transparent, kind of solid. Now, that's the first photo that I have her in.
Yep. Let me go ahead and bring up the second one. And I see Mr. Tweaky in chat says, I just came from Periscope. This is a bit better. Yeah, we are simulcasting on Periscope and Beyond the Light Network. That's something I always forget to do at the beginning, Vanessa, is I need to go ahead and shout out Beyond the Light Network because we are simulcasting there through Spreaker.
I know, yeah.
So, but yeah, our main gig is YouTube and Periscope. Yeah, I've been kind of watching the feed down there. It's been kind of herky-jerky. So, all right. So the other one I have to actually manually add because I didn't have it there for some reason. So let me go ahead and find that real quick while you guys continue to peruse that one.
Now let me ask you, hun, when you're taking, you say you do 3 shots in a row, is it click, click, click like that, or is it click, wait, click, wait, click, wait?
It's as quickly as the camera will allow me to take single shots. I don't do bursts, so
Okay.
as quickly as I can take them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, this is the cover of the book, and this is the other shot. And this one was another one. This 2009. This was October of 2009, taken about 6 p.m. Now that organ that's there, this came into the building 2 months prior to when I took this photograph. This is the Shananigator house, Methuen, Massachusetts. The Tenney family lived there while Great Court Castle was being built on the property behind. Now that burned to the ground in the late 1970s. Only 3 things survived, and this organ was one of them. And it was given to a caretaker, and when he passed, it went to this building, which is also their local historical society. I believe that she is interacting with it, because you can see at the end of the arm, there's kind of a white blur. Now, whether she had a white glove on, whether there's a cloth, but I believe that she is running her hand back and forth, that she is interacting. She is recognizing this. My own feeling is that this is Mrs. Fanny Tenney. Many mediums have felt her presence and have talked about her in the house. And you can tell this apparition, the body is small. She was quite petite, about 4'10". And with the other photo with the crazy pink-red hat on, her husband made all his money in hats. And she was known to wear very large hats to help offset her small stature. So she would have had quite a hat collection of her own.
Did he pass away before she did?
That I do not know.
So let's show them in succession. So that's the first one where she's coming through the door, and I want to try to compare if we can really see the clothing here. So a darker clothes with the red hat.
Yes.
And then, yeah, it's still darker clothes. Of course, you can't see the hat in that photo.
Right.
She wouldn't have crossed that distance as quickly as she would have taken that picture if it was a living person.
Yeah. Betty Lange is asking, was anyone else in the room investigating when the pic was taken?
Not yet. I actually had gotten there early. This was at a public event, and I knew it was sold out. I knew it would be crowded, so I intentionally showed up about an hour early, hoping I could get into the house before it was full of people. And at this point, it was not yet.
Okay, so nobody else was there at the time other than whoever would have opened up the house for you, right?
Yeah, there was maybe a half a dozen people in the house, and that's all. And it's still light out. You can see through the windows. It's still light out. So if this was a person, a living person, it would look like that. It would be obvious that it would be somebody who is, still in an earthly body.
And what was her name again?
Fanny Tenney. Methuen, Massachusetts. It's about a half an hour outside of Boston.
I know what my first impression was. That was the reason I was asking.
Okay, what's your impression?
What she did is, I know it sounds really bizarre. I do believe that there is a connection to the piano or the organ, whatever that might be. But to me, it felt like it was after he had passed, and she was still in mourning, but also in celebration, and that's why there was the hat. I know that sounds very bizarre.
No, not at all.
But, I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm trying to pull up the information on them to see. Mrs. Tenney was born in Bradford, Massachusetts, and died. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to find this. I'm going to find and see, because I'm curious now.
That's great.
Yeah, I like to know, because I'm not the end all be all have all. I don't have all the information, so I want to see if he did pass before she did.
Okay.
But yeah, it's that was the very first impression I got, and also the fact that if that was a living, breathing person, they would not have crossed that distance as quickly as you would have shot those pictures.
Right.
Even if it wasn't in burst form, like you said.
Right.
So not unless they are super, super speedy.
Yeah. And it would have been fairly quick because that's why you've got kind of that orangey cast to it, because I'm not using a flash. I don't turn the flash on until I have to. I'd rather and lighten a photo back up. That's why you've got the funny orange color, because it's in early October and it's about 6 p.m. So, I've still got some light, but not a lot more left.
Let me ask you about that when it comes to flash, because I've completely given up on flash.
Okay.
I will just use a flashlight. If I'm in a dark location, I will just use a flashlight and take a photo. Because to me, it never made much sense, or at least it dawned on me after a while that a lot of these entities that we're trying to photograph, sometimes we're seeing a shadow in the corner. Well, we use a flash. Now we just flooded the entire room with this light. So it doesn't make sense to me to change up the way the lighting is in the room. If you're seeing this shadow a particular way, just try to get it the way you're seeing it.
Okay. You want to use your flash. I think it's on the website. Is there one in there that's Rolling Hills?
I don't think I grabbed one from. Let me see if it's on the website. I might be able to grab it real quick.
Because there's one where I'm up on the 3rd floor and I'm just walking through, and I've randomly just poked my head into a room. It's completely dark, and I've taken my 3 shots. And in the 3rd shot, I have on the wall behind a stove, I've got a shadow person taken in a dark room with a flash.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not seeing Rolling Hills on the website.
Then I'm gonna put that one up. That one's in the book.
Okay.
And I'm gonna add that one up and it's partially behind a stove. I have got some already further into that same night at Shananigator House. There's also photos taken of a man in a window, and that was taken with a flash. So I use it. You have to really go and scrutinize your photos when you do use a flash. And given the choice, I would rather not. I would rather have some kind of low lighting in the room, because also when you have other people around, you don't want to be blinding them with your flash.
Oh, that too.
So I like to work with low light. I don't believe you have to be in complete darkness. I really don't.
No.
There's nothing wrong with having the lights low. And then I have enough light to go and take shots.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with that. You don't have to be in complete darkness to investigate.
Agreed.
Yeah. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we are getting down to, if you can believe this, we are getting down toward the end of the show. So yeah, so we have about 7 or 8 minutes left. So let's go ahead and talk about your book a little bit. Let me bring that photo back up so everybody can see your book.
That's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, that was the whoops, I closed up the wrong one. So that's the Tinny House photo.
The book contains 12 stories. There are photographs with every single story, and it talks about the investigation I was on, what happened. Sometimes it's kind of mundane, and sometimes, well, it's just plain old messed up what can happen on an investigation with personal experiences. But it's basically telling the story behind the photos. And there are 1 or 2, and maybe as many as 6 or 7. There's multiple shots. The one from the Gettysburg farmhouse, I had my longest series of captures at that location than I have anywhere. But there's many, many photos, and also on my website, which is ghostlyphotographs.com. People can go there. They can see some of the photos that you've been showing today, and there's a lot more to see, a really good sampling of what I've done. And the book is obviously available in print and also in ebook, whatever your choice is.
Yeah, B3 Aerospace is saying, Julie, I will get your book. So where can she and others find that?
Okay, your best bet is just to go through Amazon for it. There are links on the page, but just go to Amazon. Author House is my publisher, so they could also be ordered through there. So it's your choice how you want to do it.
Okay. Very good. And about how many photographs would you say are in that?
12 stories. There's got to be at least 30 photos in it.
Jeez.
And it depends on what you like. I mean, all right. I think if the photos look better in the ebook because you've got them on a lit electronic surface.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, a print photo.
And then you'd be able to adjust the size on the digital and everything. So we do have a $5 super chat from Raul Mueller. So thank you very much, Raul. Guten Tag, a friend from Germany. So very cool. So Ocean State Paracon, since we have a few minutes left. So what's going on at Ocean State Paracon?
Okay, that's in about 10 days. That's going to be in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It's going to be on Saturday, July 14th and Sunday 15th. Runs from, I believe, noon to 6. Anybody interested, go to riseupparanormal.com. You'll find information, or on Facebook, look for Ocean State Paracon. This is, I think, their 7th or 8th year. Everything is donated. Any guest that comes up to this, no one is compensated even for travel on this one. And they will raise, you know, thousands of dollars for a different cause every year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Karen has been kind of the main draw because Harrisville is where she used to live. This is also the vicinity of where the farmhouse that her stories are about, that they lived in for 10 years. And that's kind of how this started. The Assembly Theater, which is the building that the talks are in, which is air conditioned. So that's not.
That's good.
Everything else. Oh, it gets pretty warm because everything else is outdoors. So
I heard last year was really hot.
Yeah, well, it's middle of July, so you know what do you do? But had to make sure air conditioned building. It's nice. But you can go on to this. You can go and see the list of guests are going to be there because I will be there. I go in and I help out Andrea every year. And I see, Mike, you're going to be there for the first time this year. So that'll be great to get to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
And one thing that's going to be neat for me, that's this year, Andrea normally does a presentation. And I checked with her to make sure it was okay. I didn't know how much she'd put out, but she's going to be doing a panel this year. And she's asked me to be on the panel. And there will also be Ken DaCosta, who's the head of Rise Up, and many of his fabulous investigators, too. And the panel is going to be about people who have actually investigated at the farm.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Interesting.
I went there once with the group and once with Andrea. So, yes.
Did you get any photography from that?
I did not get any good captures. I had I had some neat experiences, and I'll have to see where the video clip is. Very complete impromptu with a not so great camera. I shot some video that came out kind of grainy. I think it's up on Andrea's YouTube page. I will find it. I'll let you know. But she's talking and she's holding a camera, and the camera starts vibrating in her hand. Cameras don't vibrate. And she just kind of looks down and goes, "Oh, the camera's vibrating," and then goes right back to telling the story of that part of the house. But there were like 2 3 or 4 minute videos with, you know, marginal quality because of the camera that were just complete impromptu upstairs.
Interesting.
Wow.
So that's going to be neat. We're all going to be talking about what it's like to actually be there, and what has happened, and the activity in the house. People have been investigating that place for well over 10 years. So that's going to be a conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to love to finally be out there this year and just check everything out. I'm excited.
May I ask you a question about the house?
Sure.
And unfortunately, I have not read Andrea's books yet. I'm hoping to have some time where I can actually do that. But I've seen the movies, and you know, and we know, you know, how she feels about certain things about that. But the one thing that I've always felt whenever I've thought of this case is an unbelievable amount of sadness. And it's weird because it's not coming from Andrea's family. It's coming from the area.
Oh, yes.
Does that
Oh,
make sense?
yes, it
Oh,
does.
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
it most certainly does.
I mean, it's heartbreaking, and
Yeah.
it feels like there's a lot of misjudgment and a lot of false accusations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And for anyone who doesn't quite know, that the movie The Conjuring was based around the Perron family's 10 years in the house, some incidents that happened. And the movie, it's a really good movie for what it is, but it's about 95% fiction.
Yeah, it's nothing of what happened.
Books, which are the true stories. And if you think the movie's scary, no. The books are scarier.
Yeah.
I need to read them, but it's silly, but I'm afraid I'm just going to sit there and cry because all I feel is sadness. I mean, it's an extreme amount of loneliness.
There are times that you would cry, Vanessa.
You will.
Yeah.
You will. You can't help but have strong emotions at different parts. There are times that are sad. There are times that are terrifying, and there are times that are so joyful. And Andrea is an incredibly good writer.
Oh, she is, definitely.
And
I'm going to do that.
They're really, really good books.
Yeah, and Diane Hilbert is
amazing story.
Yeah, Diane Hilbert is confirming down in chat. Sadness comes from the house and property. So, yeah. The books are phenomenal.
Especially behind the house. I mean, that's what I'm getting, but
when they lived there, there was 200 acres of property. So there's a lot of behind the house.
Yeah.
You know, the house goes back to 1680 and then was built on. Oh, yeah, this goes way back to some of the original land grants when Rhode Island was becoming a state. Oh, this is some very old property. There's a lot of, this would have been Indian ground at one point in time. So there's a lot has happened on this property, in this whole area. It's not just their property, it's the whole area, but especially there.
Betty Lange asking about the book. So Andrea Perron's books, House of Darkness, House of Light, it's a trilogy.
Yes, books 1, 2, and 3.
Books 1, 2, and 3. It's the real story of what happened at the Perron farmhouse, which, like Julie was saying, is really completely different than what the Conjuring movie portrayed. So definitely recommend it, because there's so much that happened there. I mean, the Conjuring makes it look like they moved in, stuff happened, they got the warrants out there, they got rid of everything. No, this was like 10 years of all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So
10 years condensed into an hour and a half.
Yeah, and so much of it was inaccurate anyway. So
yeah.
And with what happened with the Warrens isn't accurate. There was no exorcism. There was a seance that went very, very wrong.
Yeah, it did.
That's what really happened. So the book goes into all of it in great detail as to how it all happened, how it all unfolded, even the story of how they ended up going there, how did they end up learning about the farm, deciding to move there. It's quite a story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's on the list.
Because Andrea was only 12 when she moved in there. 5 little girls and parents, and living there for 10 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we need to wrap it up. We're over our hour. So we're going to go ahead and do our shout-outs. And Julie, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it, and sharing your photographs.
I love your pictures.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go ahead and do the shout-outs, and then we'll sign off and get ready for our next show. So Super Chat Superstars, we have Tom McNicholas, Grizz, Spooky Dawn, and Rawl. Thank you very much, all 4 of you, for the Super Chats. So for shout-outs, of course, we have Shana, our chat Shananigator, down in the chat this evening. Thank you very much for shenanigating the chat, Shana. And, I know. Yeah. Donna, our Cheshire Cat, thank you very much. There is Chuck Banks, Beyond the Light Network. Thank you very much. Of course, we are simulcasting on Beyond the Light Network. There's Betty Lange, thank you very much. Pamela Rainey, thank you as well. Jen, as always. Mr. Tweaky, thanks for coming over from Periscope and joining us this evening. Luna, Nocturne Psychic Medium, thanks for joining us tonight. Tim Schoen, thanks as always. Diane Hilbert, we'll be seeing you in 10 days. Let's see. Joe Chandler, thank you very much this evening. Bridget Willis, thanks for joining us again. Beat 3 Airspace, one of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. So, Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, we have Tom McNicholas, Grizz, Beat 3 Airspace, BD Flint, Pamela Queen, Zippy Davis, and Don Francisco. Thank you all very much for being Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. Got your shout-outs. Lenora Moreno, thank you very much for joining us again. Susie Randall, thank you as well. Fungi, there you are. I just have so much fun saying the name. I know. Chipper Terry, thank you for joining us again. Bethany Warner, thank you as well. Who else did we have in here tonight? We had quite a big house. Quite a full house. Sharon Lane, thanks for joining us again. April M. Wimigwans, thank you too. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll back down. Anybody wants a... did I say Tim Schoen? I think I did.
No.
No? Okay, well, Tim Schoen, there you go. He's always a great supporter as well. So, and Robert White, our buddy from Australia. Oh, yeah, well, I said Raw earlier when we had the Super Chat Superstars. Okay. So... Les Wayman, PhD, thanks for joining us tonight. He came over from the Paranormal Quest St. Joseph's Hospital video. Cool. Very cool. All right. So, Discord Threads is in the house. Check out her stuff. She has a very cool merch. Discord Threads. She does.
Oh, no, she does. No, I'm doing a painting for her, and I was laughing at Grayson.
Oh, okay.
He waved at everybody.
Okay, so that's going to do it for shout-outs. If I miss you, I'm sorry. Nothing personal. It's just there's a lot of you in chat tonight, which we certainly appreciate. So up next, we have Inside the Upside Down. We're going to be talking about haunted, abandoned locations. So we're going to be going through some more picks. So that is up next. Julie, thank you again, and we'll be seeing you very, very soon, and looking forward to talking to you in person.
Thank you again.
So and again, one last time, your website, so everybody can check you out.
Ghostlyphotographs.com. Check it out. Lots of good stuff there, and you can also contact me through the website.
Fantastic. All right. So, Julie, have a great night. The rest of you will be seeing you shortly. Till next time.
Good night. Thanks.
Bye.